The National Taxi Alliance and the South African National Taxi Council are urging civil organizations and the Trade Union Federation COSATU to join a national shutdown over the increasing petrol prices. Now, with taxi fares expected to increase in the next few weeks, the taxi associations say the increases have made the cost of living unaffordable. Joining me now is SANTACO spokesperson, Mr. Bafana Magagula, and COSATU's Parliamentary Coordinator, Mr. Matthew Parks. Mr. Parks, let me quickly begin with you. Are you indeed happy to join this national shutdown where you are being invited by these taxi organizations?
Well, let's not jump ahead of ourselves. We haven't received a formal invitation yet. I think we'd be keen to engage with SANTACO. I think we will share the concerns that the fuel price regime is simply unaffordable. It's squeezing workers, it's hitting taxi owners and taxi drivers, it's hitting the entire economy. So I think we'd be keen to see how can we collaborate and how can we support each other. Because I think our objectives are the same. We need to get an affordable fuel price regime. We need to see real decisive action from government to get it under control. But I think once we get the invitation, we can then engage with SANTACO. We can have discussions at COSATU with our affiliate unions, because a strike is not a simple thing for unions. There's a variety of legal processes, mandating processes that they have to go through with workers, with unions, with employers, and it takes a little bit of time. But I think, look, those are logistics. I think we're keen to have the discussion because we support the objective of responding to the fuel price regime.
Mr. Magagula, do you think a formal invitation is required, or should COSATU act out of sheer instinct here that the people of this country are suffering?
Thank you, Xoli, and all your viewers. I greet all the taxi drivers on the road and our commuters who are supporting our industry. First of all, let me put it very clear that SANTACO has not yet decided to go on a shutdown. Yet maybe we are looking at that maybe as a last resort after having exhausted all the channels in terms of discussing how this increase of fuel and levies can be sorted or can be resolved. SANTACO will first call its National Executive Committee through its president, Mr. Abnatsebe, who will call a meeting and with the National Executive Committee, take it through all structures up to its management council. Once having decided to go on a shutdown, we will then write to relevant parties that we believe needs to be part of the strike and engage them and discuss with them as to how a strike should be conducted or a shutdown should be conducted. At the moment, there is no shutdown that has been decided by SANTACO yet, and there has been no meeting that has decided on a shutdown.
Quickly before I move to Mr. Parks, how much do you estimate taxi fares to go up by if all avenues have been exhausted and you are unable to avoid increasing the taxi fares? How much are passengers looking at if we are to look ahead as to just how expensive these taxi fares are going to become? Mr. Magagula?
Well, at this moment, let me first indicate something we always say year by year or year after year, that between June and July, it's an open window for taxi associations to implement increases. This has been discussed ways back, and we've been saying this to media from time to time, that commuters should expect increases between this month of June and the month of July, and our taxi associations should give at least 7 days notice to all commuters in different routes and associations before implementing such. At this point in time, it is very difficult to say by how much, but I can rest assure commuters, and they have been rest assured in the past, and it's been a fact that we've never increased our fares so alarmingly that they are not able to afford, because we stay with them. We are the same community. We come from same areas. We know their disadvantages. And when we increase, which I can assure you right now that there are associations, irrespective of the COVID act lockdowns and so on, they have not increased their fares since then, past 4 years, past 3 years. And when taxes goes up, normally it will be on local routes by anything between 50 cents, 1 rand, to maybe 3 rand or so. And also on long distances, it's anything between 2.5 and 10 rand. It has, and it also depends when last did that association increase its fares. It sometimes looks huge, but also if you consider if an association has not increased its fares for the past 5 years, 5 rand is actually nothing. It's just a drop in an ocean. Unfortunately, we're not subsidized, and also we compete against giants like your Transluxes, your Prasas, who are subsidized and also gets injected in an event of this nature, and we have no injection that we get from anywhere. We try and fund ourselves, and if we open our books, you will see there's a lot of repossessions to the losses that we are running at.
Mr. Parks, I don't know if you are going to agree with Mr. Magagula that their price increases as taxi organizations are not sometimes exorbitant for commuters to afford. But you hold the cards here, Mr. Parks, as the organization COSATU, because you are in what is informally called the governing alliance. And so tell us, what discussions are being had with the people, crucially the ministers of energy and the treasury minister here?
Yeah. Look, I think we would agree with Mr. Magagula. I mean, we're all feeling the pinch of the huge increase in fuel prices. Workers already struggling. Workers on average spend already a quarter of the salary for transport to get to work. This is going to make it much more difficult, and it's going to put food inflation up. It's going to put the cost of electricity up. It really is going to make life very unbearable for workers. And this comes on the back of recent repo rate hikes, which might still continue for some time. So we have engaged with the ministers of finance and mineral resources, government, about urgent measures I think we need to do. We did welcome the extension of the R1.50 fuel price tax relief for the month of June, and a 75% for July. But we don't think it's enough. We think, because we're still seeing the highest ever fuel price hikes, we think there are other measures which we can control, because we do appreciate the fuel price has gone up because of the conflict in Ukraine and international oil prices. But there are things which we can control. We can get Metro Rail back online, so at least many commuters in the cities can get back onto trains, out of cars or buses or taxis or whatever. We think we need to look at a new fuel price regime hike as well, because currently a third of the fuel price goes towards taxes. So government can control that. They need to find alternative ways to increase revenue for the state, besides simply charging a third of the fuel price for taxes. We need to get the road accident fund back on its feet, because right now it's got a debt level of liabilities of about 400 billion rand. So there's a need for government to retable the RAF and the RABS bills of Parliament, because that's going to help ease the burden on commuters. But we need to see government moving with speed. We don't have the luxury of time, because fuel prices go up on the 1st of each month. And in the meantime, workers are struggling, taxis are struggling, businesses are struggling, and the entire economy is limping.
Yeah. Let me thank you both, gentlemen, for your time. Matthew Parks is COSATU's Parliamentary Coordinator, and Mr. Magagula is the spokesperson for the taxi organization SANTACO. Thank you very much for your time, and let's hope that some measure is going to be done here to try and lessen the blow on the already burdened consumer.